director of the Courtney Medical Group, located at 3075 Washington Road in McMurray, Pennsylvania. For more information or to make an appointment, call 724-942-3002. That's 724-942-3002 for Dennis J. Courtney, MD.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to AM Impact on Your Health. AM Impact on Your Health, where every day our goal is to have you learn at least one thing to help you live better and longer. AM Impact on Your Health, heard each and every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 8 to 9 o'clock. I'm Dr. Dennis Courtney, and I'm with you each and every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 8 to 9. AM Impact on Your Health, for each day you'll find current medical news, knowledgeable guests, fascinating health topics, and where we do encourage you to call in to join in. Today, well, we're on an upbeat note today. We've been on a downbeat. I know I've been leading the band on the downbeat side because, well, every time this month of October rolls around and we're smack dab in the middle of breast cancer awareness, I look at everything going on around me, all the festivities, and I just see that what's being offered isn't what it's cracked up to be. In fact, it can be quite harmful. And so enough already with downgrading the dastardly mammograms. Let's talk on the upbeat side. What to do? Ladies, I hope if this is the first time we're going to be able to make you aware of something called thermograms, that if you've been upset with me talking about the negative side so often, I hope you feel good about today, because I think the replacement for mammograms has just got to be thermograms. And we're going to get into the thermogram and why it is so much an appropriate tool to give you that warning. Remember that 1 millimeter rule out there in any kind of study, any kind of a medical diagnostic tool that's being used to meet the mantra. And the mantra is the best protection is early detection. And that early detection means it has to be before there's 1 millimeter's worth of malignant activity. And I just don't know any other medical tool other than the thermogram that can do that. We're going to find out how and why and where and what other components you should want to know about with respect to thermograms today. When we get with the girls with Three Rivers Thermography, Judy and Sue, their names, are going to be with us right after that first break. So today we're going to be talking about what is it that you should do. Breast cancer assessment? Yes. Breast cancer awareness? Wonderful. But the mammogram is not the tool, and hopefully thermography, if it's never been explained to you before, will actually come through loud and clear today. Look, in the course of our discussion with Judy and Sue about thermograms, you want to call in to ask a question or make a comment. That number, as always, will be 412-825-6262. That's 412-825-6262. And I will give that number additionally throughout the hour. Okay, calendar-wise, here's the way the month is shaping up. On Wednesday and Friday this week, if you have a pain problem, or if you know somebody that does, somebody who's looking for some relief, I would advise you to tune us up, dial us up on Wednesday and Friday this week, where we discuss a unique device that we have had here in our office for quite a while. I've never really highlighted it before. We're taking the time this month to do a bang-up job on what's called the Matrix. The Matrix technology has been around for a while. It is unique. It's the only FDA-approved tool of its type to enable us to deliver neural blockade, meaning a nerve block, without ever using a needle, taking about 20 minutes to do it. It has, in some cases, been a remarkable way to help people contend with pain, to get some relief. So if you're sitting out there today and you've got pain in whatever area of the body you may have, and you can't seem to find an answer to why, well, that's something we also do here. But just on the relief side alone, hopefully you'll be paying attention with us and listening along with us. On Wednesday, when Peter Beltramp is going to be here, with Mr. Mike Gramazio. Peter's going to be coming in from the West Coast. Mike's going to be coming in from Atlanta. And we're going to bring both of the two here. These two are probably the most influential gentlemen I know throughout the entire United States who have promoted and continue to promote the use of matrix technology. And because of their work, people out there listening to me today and many patients who I already do see are benefiting from this technique. Then, on Friday, sort of moved to the clinical side with a colleague, an anesthesiologist colleague of mine. I had never met him before. I talked to him briefly on the phone. His name is Dr. Frank Crusade. He works at a surgery center in Akron, Ohio, and there's a large pain clinic associated with it. Well, he does nerve blocks in the OR for people having surgery, but then he comes out and puts people on the matrix to get pain relief. Doesn't use the nerve blocks on them anymore, which I think is really smart. We'll compare notes, let you have an opportunity to see between both he and myself what kind of results we're getting with it and see if we match up or not. I really have no idea what he's going to say, but he has to be seeing the same things that I'm seeing, so it'll be an interesting perspective for you as a listener and a potential patient if you do have a pain problem, or as I say, if you know someone who does. And the following week, next week, we're going to start on Monday, bringing Bill Henderson to you. Bill's written a book. The book is entitled Cancer Free, Your Guide to Gentle, Non-Toxic Healing. And we're getting you ready because he'll be the featured speaker up at the Freedom of Choice in Cancer Therapy Group on Thursday at the typical location, Days Inn, 7 o'clock, just south of Butler on Route 8. By now, you know the drill. Anyway, in keeping with what's been a long-standing practice here, when we can, we'd like to bring the guest who's going to be addressing you on our show to have you a chance to meet them first. And so Bill Henderson will be with us on next Monday. Then, as we move into the last week of the month, yes, he's coming back. We got to hear what happened in the woods, what happened. And by the way, he's coming at us by virtue, I'm told, by calling us from London, England. I don't know what he's doing over there. I'll let him tell us. Of course, I'm talking about Dr. Cass Ingram, who wants to talk more about. I've got a little bit of advance information from his PR folks. He wants to go back and talk about the cures in the forest. I promised to pry out of him a little more information about blood pressure issues, which I know I've mentioned over and over again to him and to you that we needed to spend some time with. So maybe we could cajole him into doing just that. Cass Ingram will be with us on the 25th, calling us from England. I guess it's about 6 hours time difference. Should be around 2 in the afternoon. What else are you going to do at 2 in the afternoon in England other than call home? So that's the way the month is shaping up. Now, I'm going to just move right off into it. I don't want to waste any time today. I want to get right to the topic. As much as we beat up mammograms, we need to offer you ladies a positive way to deal with this terrible problem, a way that, well, your doctors just won't understand. That's why you have to appreciate the benefits, because they will, well, I can't say it, never, but as it stands right now, they won't know what you're talking about. Well, we know what we're talking about, at least I think so. We're going to be talking to the women who run Three Rivers Thermography. They come to my office twice a month. They travel all over Western Pennsylvania and do the same. More about that when we return. Be right back in a moment with Judy and Sue.
This is Dennis Shea Courtney, MD. You become confused about how best to manage your health. It's no wonder. It seems that every time you turn on the television or radio, another expert has yet another suggestion for you to follow that seems to be reasonable enough, but no matter how dutifully you follow the instruction, it just doesn't quite produce the results that you were looking for. If this confusion sounds familiar to you, give us a call at the Center for Complementary Health, where we'll make some sense of the confusion based on a blending of traditional and alternative medicine that we've been perfecting over the last 7 years. We offer metabolic nutrition testing, immune system repair, natural hormone replacement therapy, chelation therapy, cutting-edge allergy correction, and a host of other safe and effective alternative therapies.
How are you?
Dennis J. Courtney, MD, is located at 3075 Washington Road in McMurray. Phone 724-942-3002.
Have you been to the doctor lately? Was fatigue top of your complaint list? Even if your doctor asks you what you eat, the recommended 5 servings of fruits and vegetables a day isn't free in your busy schedule. What if you learned of a product 5 years in the formulation that delivers 5 servings of fruits and minerals in just 1 ounce? That's right, it's Fruit of the Spirit. The blessings of Fruit of the Spirit are now formulated into a delicious whole fruit puree product rich in antioxidants and minerals. Your health is more than just a test result. It's a balance of physical, spiritual, and emotional factors. You work regularly to strengthen your faith, let Fruit of the Spirit help cover your nutritional needs in a convenient and cost-effective ounce a day. Call 1-800-442-3793 for a special promotional offer. Fruit of the Spirit, a blessing for your good health. Fruit of the Spirit, 5 servings of fruits and minerals with no added sugars. That's 1-800.
Are y'all there?
3793 for your good health. Call us now, 1-800-442-3793.
Hey, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back once again to AM Impact on Your Health. Here on this Monday morning version of the show, I guess celebrating Columbus Day today. It's October for sure. All of signs indicate as such. I hope you all, by the way, had an enjoyable time up at Ligonier Days. What a backdrop for a wonderful day out in the sun. Today, in this month of October, things seem to happen annually, one of which, and you know it each and every time it comes around because I just can't let the topic go. It bothers me so much. This issue of Breast Cancer Awareness Month isn't what bothers me. That's great. That's wonderful. But the hidden mantra behind it is you got to go get a mammogram. And as you well know, I don't feel too positive about those mammograms. In fact, I feel very much down and out about them. Well, it's about time to offer you up, if you've never heard it before, something called Thermograms. When we're talking about early detection of possible breast cancer malignancy, what's the tool that you should be looking for? And it's not the mammogram. It really needs to be the thermogram, and you'll hear all about it with our 2 good friends, Judy and Sue, who come to my office twice a month and travel a whole bunch of other places besides to do the thermograms. We're with them right now. I think we're hooked up. Let's say good morning. Well, let's say, Judy, you with me?
I am. Good morning, Donna.
Okay, and Sue, are you with me?
I'm sure here.
Okay. A little reverb on you, Judy. We'll see what the heck's going on with that. We do this every year. I don't know. I guess it's 4 or 5 years now. In October, we always have a chance to bring you, the 2 of you, to my radio show because I absolutely want the opportunity to hear, to let Pittsburghers hear this strong message that thermograms bring with respect to the positive side of being able to diagnose the possibility of a breast cancer way before it's even visible in any other medium. We'll get into that, I'm sure. Let's get into a little bit of the both of you, however. Let's take Judy. Judy, why don't you tell our listeners a little bit about yourself and how it is that you come to move into what is appearing to me to be your life's passionate work.
Well, good morning, everyone. Yes, it is definitely my life's passionate work.
You are on whoa, we got a reverb there. Are you on a speakerphone or something?
Yeah, we're on the main line. Is that better?
That's better. Okay.
It was just the other time was too close. It's definitely a passion. No question. It's taken a number of years to get to this point. My background includes nursing. I did a little medical surgical, some oncology. Then I progressed into the ultrasound field, diagnostic ultrasound. While that was a wonderful modality for detecting and diagnosing illnesses and diseases, it still wasn't everything. So I came across mammography, just realizing how much more we can do with this great tool.
You knew it from the first, didn't you? The first get-go when you ever exposed to thermograms, it sort of clicked in your own mind, didn't it?
You're absolutely right. I was, as I said, in the medical field and experienced quite a few of those CT scans and the other dyes and other awful radiation. And due to the fact that I had post-op complications at a point in my life. And a very wise physician told me there's another tool called thermography. So I spent about a year investigating. I traveled around the country, did a lot of research, and after they had used thermography on myself and found what the infection was and where it was, I was sold, obviously. So the more investigating I did, the more I realized something.
All right. I mean, you're straight out of conventional medicine, boy. You're one of us.
I am.
And you made the turn. Now let's get on with Sue. Now, Sue, why don't you give our listeners an opportunity to learn a bit? Your background's quite different from that of Judy. Nonetheless, it's turned out to become your passion at work in life, too. Tell us how it all came about.
Well, actually, Judy and I have been lifelong friends. Our children played ball together, and we began to know each other many, many years ago. And I started out in education, and which is quite different from what I'm doing today. But, I kind of was in the background and watched Judy go through all the medical mishaps that she went through during that period. And I just remember thinking to myself, there's a better way. There has to be a better way. This is just, it was just almost seemed cruel to me, some of the things that she had to go through with the traditional medicine. So as I watched that, became aware more of natural medicine and that whole realm of things, and just it pretty much really, really interested me, even though that wasn't my background at the time. But like I said, we had been friends, so at one point in time I wasn't teaching. I actually took a little break to raise my children, and she asked me when they were a little older, do you want to come back to work? I'm going to start this new business. And I was pretty much on board from the very beginning, and it's just been so exciting ever since that time. But I like to think of myself as being the patient advocate, because I'm the one who kind of looks at it from their point of view, because I do not have, technically a medical background. But it's kind of interesting that way. She has all the medical, and I have the other perspectives, so we work together very well.
Oh, yeah. Two of you bring strengths to the table that make the offering that you bring so much more powerful because of your diverse backgrounds. And I find that it is quite helpful to see how you interact with women in a different way. But nonetheless, the entire package makes this experience a very positive experience for these ladies. And there are some men in there too, by the way. It's not just all ladies, but nonetheless, because we're in Breast Cancer Awareness Month, we'll probably do much of our focusing on it today. A question that each of you get asked, and I'll ask each one of you in your own way to maybe tell me how you answer it. Listeners out there wondering, what the heck is a thermogram? You have to be asked that question over and over and over again. And so let's talk to you, Judy. Judy, what is a thermogram?
Well, quite simply, it is a tool that measures the heat that is radiated from the body. We have an infrared camera that detects the temperatures of the skin surface based on your sympathetic nervous system. So this is not controlled by us, or it's an involuntary system where once we get the picture, there's nothing, you can just change it. So we're picking up the heat changes, whether they're too warm or too cold in different areas of the body, and it's indicative of changes towards disease. And most importantly, there's no contact with the body. There's no radiation whatsoever. There's no harmful rays at all. And it's the earliest detection of the fact that we are changing before this occurs.
This thing about temperature, changes in surface temperature of the skin, the public would be interested in knowing. In a normal person without any breast cancers or any issues, any malignancies going on or anything terrible going on, in a normal individual, the surface temperature of the skin isn't even throughout. There are all sorts of variations in every single person that are easily visualized by those cameras. So, I mean, yeah, 98.6 is our walking around temperature, but our skin radiates different. By the way, how sensitive is this camera? In other words, if 1 degree of change is occurring, you display this in various colors. How many different colors are going to be displayable with 1 degree temperature change. You ever had that question asked of you?
Yes, actually, Dr. Courtney, we have. There are actually 16 colors on the scale that we use, and each color represents a half of a degree. So the camera is extremely specific on, picking up each minute temperature on the body. So what we're looking at is that the software attaches a different color to every temperature that it sees and breaks it up into pixels. So we come up with a full picture, of your head or your breast, and we can put that information together now, or I should say the doctors that interpret the scan put that information together to look for specific patterns of heat that indicate that angiogenesis or an increased blood supply is occurring to a particular area. Or in some conditions that are, not breast cancer, it can be a decreased blood supply to an area. So that's basically what it is. Very straightforward and simple, but there's a lot of technology that goes behind that.
Absolutely a lot of technology, and the word angiogenesis we'll get to in a little bit, because in a standard individual without any cancer at all, there are these variations in skin temperatures. What, to either one of you, whichever one feels most comfortable, what are the kind of things that are depictable and really manifest themselves as a temperature difference in an area of the body and set it apart from another area of the body? What are some of the things you can see?
Well, if we're concentrating on breast, obviously we can get into a little later in the show about the rest of the body, a little bit about what we can see throughout. But concentrating on the breast region, we can see any kind of a change, even if it's just fibrous breast, which is very, very common. Tender breast or painful at times, we can differentiate by this camera if it's fibrous or, as you mentioned, if there's a beginning of an angiogenesis. You can see calcification. Sometimes they're harmless, sometimes they become harmful. There's different infections we've seen with, especially women that are post-nursing with milk duct infection. So a wide range of breast, other than cancer, is also detected by this camera. And while we're doing the breast, we also look at the thyroid, and we can see, all lymph under the arm, the lymph at the base of the neck, major lymph channels at that point. And when the women have a congestion in the lymph glands, it also is concerning further down the road. Something that's very easily detected by sonography.
Yeah, I should say that whatever disease process there may be throughout the body, as a general rule, and there are probably some minor exceptions to this, whatever that disease is, whatever the dysfunction of that tissue is, it's going to manifest itself one of two ways. The tissue is either going to get hotter or inflammation increase, or it's going to get cooler, meaning the lack of activity in that organ, or in that structure of the body, so that hots and colds actually sort of match up with diseases no matter where they may be in body, including the breast. Fair enough said?
Oh, that's absolutely true. And there's a lot of research, as you well know, about calcifications with dental pathology, and which is basically an infection in the bone. And unfortunately, people don't feel that because usually it's from a root canal, and that nerve tissue is dead. So that would be another case where a thermogram would show something as being warmer or a hot spot in the area of the mouth, which people are walking around not even knowing that issue may be going on, but it may be causing secondary symptoms.
Oh yeah, we probably should spend a little bit of time on that dental issue. It is so important. As you know, most of the patients that are coming to you from me to have these studies done, I always request them to get a full body at least one time, at least at the beginning, so as to be able to have a good shot at the head. So it isn't just a matter of, although you could request just the breast component, and of course the pricing of how you do that is based on how much of the body gets done. But because there's so much to be learned, I usually say that one good full body scan is worth its weight in gold to be able to detect all sorts of pathologies from nose all the way to toes. Fair enough?
That's fair enough. and we should probably also let you know that right now we have we offer a couple different scans. We've changed things up a little bit because we're using another interpretation service that we're very pleased with. We could talk about that in a minute. But we, obviously have the traditional breast screening, but we also have what we call women's and men's health screening, which includes the head and the chest area. So with that, you get a stroke screening for carotid artery. You get a complete thyroid study. You get the dental evaluation, you get cardiovascular evaluation, and the complete chest or breast scan. So we feel that that's pretty comprehensive for a lot of people if they can't afford the full body. But we also offer women's and men's health screening plus, and that includes everything I just mentioned, plus the complete abdominal scan. So we changed things up a little. The doctors now, the new interpretation service, are very, very thorough, much more detailed. They give you more recommendations in the reports, and we're just so pleased because we have searched far and wide for them. Just always looking to improve our service, always looking to give the patient more information, so that they can go to physicians like yourself and follow up with whatever treatment may be necessary.
Now, with respect to the breast, here we are in this month of October, and a lot of fervor out there, a lot of enthusiasm, at least an attempt to engender enthusiasm, and it's translating. I mean, you can't watch football games on a Sunday without seeing pink everywhere with this month. The battle cry has always been, this is from the conventional medical community, that the best protection is early detection. And boy, that is a very true statement, no doubt about it. I've spent the last couple of days now really talking about how the mammogram falls short there, that even when it finally is able to demonstrate a lesion, at this particular point in time, it's usually past time. It's usually well beyond the time when complete prevention of breast cancer can even be accomplished because the lesion is too large. I think that's the real advantage with what you offer through these thermograms and why I support them so much, and they've gained such a wide worldwide acceptance, because when it comes to early detection, you have no equal that I know of with respect to how early it is that these lesions can be detected. And they are detectable way, many years before the mammogram ever could be. Would one of you please take that concept? Because I believe it's got to be the salient point to drive home today for women who are listening out there. I had a caller last week who said, women sort of know intuitively that they shouldn't do mammograms, okay? They get forced to doing them, but intuitively they don't want to do them. They just know there's something wrong. Well, let's talk about the thermogram and how much better a choice it would be with respect to that one issue, which I agree in, that the best protection is early detection. Talk to me about early detection, one of the two of you.
Well, you're right. Most women do come in and say, well, my doctor insists on that mammogram every year, and I go and I feel like I shouldn't be there. I just feel like there's something, something tells them, other than pain, obviously, that this isn't right. And the more the media is bringing forward the effects of the radiation and the truth about the amounts of radiation that are being absorbed in this body with the mammogram are way higher than ever talked about before. As you know, the task force came out and recommended different times for women as far as starting them. And so even the mainstream media is recognizing the negative parts of mammogram. However, it's very difficult to get back statistics online or anywhere else. But the closest we find is that a mammogram is at best 82% accurate, and that's in a small group of women. It's actually 65% in premenopausal women due to the fact that the breast is so dense.
Dense breast tissue, yes.
And they'll tell the women all the time, your breasts are dense, come back, get us another picture, or, let's just go ahead and biopsy that questionable area. And as you know, it needs so much more invasive testing. So the thermogram in all the literature and all the studies is at least 90% accurate. It's never been written that it's less than that. But 90% accuracy is pretty high up on the chart as far as any kind of a medical test. There's nothing that's 100%. So, given that, and given the fact that you know that a tumor has instead of blood supply to grow, we are detecting that change known as angiogenesis. That the new blood supply is developing to feed a new growth. That's what thermography is able to detect. When you're going for a mammogram, pretty much it's positive, and they admit it's positive, you've got a growth to deal with already. Because it has to be at least a millimeter for they to be seen by mammography. And so now you're in a treatment program. Where with thermography, the whole idea of prevention begins with, oh my gosh, there's something there changing, I need to pay attention to it.
Now these changes, which are certain to become visualizable, I've heard, and I certainly remember it this way, and maybe you can shed some light on it, that it's possible to begin to see these early signs of a malignancy through this process of neovascularization, meaning the tumor is able to generate the formation of brand new blood vessels just to feed it, just to disproportionately feed it. And by virtue of blood traveling closer and around this lesion, heat obviously gets generated. And that heat signature is one that is easily visualizable by thermogram. And then the key thing that I've heard, and please shed some light on this if it's right or wrong, that kind of a lesion is detectable as much as 7 to 10 years before the mammogram ever could. Is that a correct and accurate statement?
That is, Dr. Courtney. Actually, we now know that you have to have at least 10 million cells to have a lump as big as the point of a pen, actually, to be visible on mammography. But with a thermogram, well before that, when those cells are multiplying and multiplying and multiplying, and the studies do say 8 to 10 years, we can see that metabolic activity that's happening, and it shows up as a particular pattern of heat on the body. So that's what's that's what's so cool about thermograms. And you know what you can do is take that information and be preventative more so in your care. So there's no radiation, there's no surgery, hopefully, or anything like that. It's more addressing the fact that changing the diet, detoxification of the body, and those types of things that you can do so that we never have to put ourselves through those types of treatments. Absolutely,
there are, and I just say, ladies out there, plenty of ways to deal with the cancer at that level, meaning 7 to 10 years before the conventional boys could ever discover it. That's a powerful, extremely powerful fact with respect to thermograms, and it certainly meets the mantra, which if ever was a statement that was true, the best protection against cancer is early detection, and there is no earlier detectable way of illuminating a malignancy other than thermogram. I know of no other way. Is there anything that you know of? Because I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, there's nothing that we have, and we've obviously, being in this field, to hear of anything that's out there. Also, it's talk early, trying to reach the women that are not at the age of thermography, so to speak. Used to be 40, where women started to think, I better have my breast checked. If you can start earlier, there's no question if a woman has breast cancer history in the family, even the daughters, the niece, everyone consider doing the screening much earlier than 40, because you want to get the baseline established before you start saying, I might have a bump, or I feel this, or I feel that. The early part is the most important part. As soon as you establish that baseline, you have something to refer back to.
Yeah, you probably should spend a moment or two about this issue of baseline, because getting thermograms usually at the onset requires not one, but two. So take that concept and let women understand why it's so important to get the second thermogram, and usually within a span, I think you usually say 3 to 6 months, but go right ahead and take that so that ladies understand what they would be getting into and why.
Well, that's right, Dr. Courtney. The recommendation from the physicians is to have your first scan, and then 3 months following that, you would have another to establish your baseline. And we talked about how, beginning stages of cancer are metabolic, and they're constantly changing. So that's what we're looking for on a thermogram. That's one of the risk factors. If a woman's thermogram is not stable over time, that's probably the biggest indicator that, there is a problem there that needs to be looked into further. More investigation is warranted at that point. So that's why Judy said, the younger we can get young women in here, certainly the better, because they have that information on file. It's like their particular thumbprint or fingerprint. So we should see the same thermogram year after year after year on a woman. If it changes, then, like I said, that would be the earliest warning that, okay, there's something going on at a cellular level in my body that I need to address. And like you said, earliest detection is the best
protection.
The best we can do.
That's right. Now, I'm guessing that to get taken, probably, Sue, you're probably maybe more involved with this than Judy is, but maybe I've misread the roles that each of you play. But to me, there's got to be some education for a woman to appreciate if that thermogram should come back and be indicative of malignancy, especially in these early days. Probably the worst thing you could ever do would be to run to the conventional medical community to get some resolution. I mean, I can picture, and certainly I've heard stories of patients going to their doctors and saying, look, my thermogram is showing that I more than likely have a malignancy. I want you to go take care of that, cut that thing out of there. And in fact, there probably is such a dumbfounded look on that doctor's face, because I think the question would probably be, what in the hell is a thermogram? Wouldn't that be where it starts?
Yes, we hear that every day.
So what steps do you take with your ladies to really appreciate how to use the tool, even if the tool is providing with information that really wouldn't be pleasant to hear, that you might have a breast lesion, but nonetheless, to think that you really can't take that information and run to your doctor and say, do something about it, I think take some real time to discuss with them. Do you? And if you do, how do you approach it?
Wow. Well, you are right. I mean, a lot of the time, one of our biggest challenges since we began this almost 6 years ago is follow-through with the thermogram, because there's a lot of good information there, and generally the traditional community doesn't even know what a thermogram is. So that's been an uphill battle for us, and we definitely have connected with physicians like yourself and others around Pittsburgh that do help us follow clients. But it is good news that we are getting more and more physicians on board, and they are learning about it, and they're forced to, because the client takes the information to their doctor and pretty much makes them go through it with them. And we're finding that the actual client is educating the doctor in this case. But we do have a support network around Pittsburgh, yourself obviously included, that can help clients follow, and we are in touch with a lot of NDs and people like that do help with these types of treatments. So, if a client asks and they're not from an area, that's not near your neck of the woods, we can guide them as to, who to follow with. So you don't ever want to take that information and not do anything with it, especially if it's, something more of a serious nature.
Yeah, absolutely. So then, talk to us a bit about this, the process of the mammogram itself, and the thermogram itself, and how it is that they're accomplished. How long does it take? What preparation, if any, do you have to make in order to assure that the study is being done correct? Walk us through that, the process of actually doing a thermogram.
Well, along with the fact that the scan is so simple, so is the rest of the procedure. We have very few preparations that we allow let the clients know about. One is basically just not having any kind of artificial heat. So we don't recommend that you have any kind of sunbathing or tanning beds or anything like that within a day or two of the scan, because the temperature would be increased. And any common sense thing like you're going to drink a cup of coffee or hot tea right before a scan. Basically, it's very, very limited preparation. So that we don't. Most women that come in from work, they don't have to have no deodorant roll. It's great to not have heavy body cream on, but it's not that strict, test sensitive enough to go about your normal routine in the morning, pretty much. So when you schedule, we have our office, our home office, is on Babcock Boulevard, and we come to your office, place you mentioned, and several other areas that we go to globally. The best way to make an appointment is to call the office number, which is 412-548-3612, and we can guide you to which office you may be closest to. If you're having a breast scan, you're going to allow yourself a half an hour. We have you come in and take off your shirt and bra, waist up, put a nice cozy gown on, no paper gown, nice cozy gown, give you some paperwork to fill out. That's usually about a 15-minute process. Fill it out, go over what any questions client may have, and so we proceed to take the pictures. So that takes about 10 minutes, and then we go over each one of the pictures with them. Let them know what the doctors are going to be looking for, how and why the colors what they are. So the entire procedure is basically a half hour for a breast, and then we go ahead and send the pictures to the physician to read. They are all MDs trained in thermography. They are all called thermologists, and they have a lot of experience. So we get the report back from them, and then we copy it and send it to the client. So your written results will see you within 1 week. And as I said, when you're here, having this to go over each one of the images, hopefully just get to see a little bit more about what's expected in the procedure report.
Now see, this just slipped my mind here for a second. Following up with what you then said with respect to the study, this is a half-hour procedure. No fuss, no muss. The issue then of getting the information to. Oh, here's the point I wanted to make. Okay. Unlike a mammogram that really requires that a physician give that patient a prescription to go get it done, I think what has to be mentioned here is you don't need to have a prescription to come get a thermogram. Elaborate on that a little bit, because I think it'd be surprising to a lot of women to know that.
Well, it is a self-pay, self-referral type of service, so it's, taking your own initiative to take your health in your own hands and, schedule the exam, and it's pretty much that simple. So it is nice that way. You don't have to have anybody's permission to have a thermogram, and we've been like that since the beginning. And generally people do ask about insurance. Because of that, it is, there's no prescription necessary. What we do is, you pay at the time of service, but we do give the client a receipt, and on the receipt does have this code that coincide with their thermogram, depending on what particular scan they're having, and they can turn that into their insurance company and try to get reimbursed. And we're finding sometimes we actually have clients that let us know that they did get maybe some or full money back, but it doesn't happen very often. We're finding maybe 15% of the time people are getting something covered. So we're going in the right direction.
It's growing. Hey, there was a time when I'd never heard of getting any coverage, any reimbursement back to the patient at all. So you're on the move. You're getting there.
Oh yeah, it's change takes time, and as you know, it's the women and men that are walking in or calling their insurance company and saying, "Look, this is what I want. This is why I want it." A lot of times we'll encourage clients to say, make them write it, put it in writing of why they're denying your coverage here, because this is your right. If you choose not to have radiation and this is the type of screening you want to do, let them give you a good reason for it. So I think we're definitely moving in the right direction there.
Absolutely. Now, I'm hearing knocks on the door. You don't mind taking questions, do you?
I would love to have questions.
All right, 412-825-6262. If you got a question for either Sue or Judy, give us a call. I do hear a knock on the door. Come on the store. Hello, and welcome aboard. You're with the girls.
Hi.
Hi.
Everybody.
Hello. Good morning.
And, just had a mammogram, and then also had subsequently had a gram ultrasound done. And so she did come up to 1 millimeter size. And her concern is not wanting to get their biopsy. She's afraid that the biopsy actually may spread there. So your thoughts on that one?
All right, I heard that all chopped up, but I think I got a picture here. Let me take a crack at it, girls. What do you think?
Okay.
You sound like you're moving through the drill, okay? The drill is you had a mammogram, correct?
My sister had a mammogram.
Okay, had a mammogram, then led to a sonogram, which then led to a biopsy, correct?
No. She did not have a biopsy.
Okay.
She's concerned about having a biopsy because she's heard pros and cons about biopsies. Depending on the type of biopsy, can actually spread something that might be there.
Yeah, I understand that. In fact, my patient load would profess that to me oftentimes. I see the patients who come to me and say, I have a lump and I'm not going to have any mammograms because I am not having a biopsy, even as common as you think it is that it should be done. My patients buck that system all over the place. So there is quite a bit to discuss with respect to should you do the biopsy or not. There's knowledge to be gained on whether to make that decision. It's not one that is easily enough covered in the time we have right now. The thermogram, of course, is what is attempted to be able to provide so that none of what you just described is even possible because the mammogram wouldn't detect it, a sonogram wouldn't detect it, and there wouldn't even be a question of whether to do a biopsy because you wouldn't know what to do a biopsy of what. So I don't know how to directly answer your question except to say there is an answer that allows for your sister to make a decision as to whether she really should or should not have that biopsy. I'd ask you to come on in to see me so we could discuss it. All right?
And I felt bad. Did she have a thermogram?
No, I don't think she had a thermogram. Am I correct about that?
Yes.
She did or she did not?
She had a thermogram.
Oh, she had a thermogram. And what did the thermogram show?
Same thing.
Same thing, meaning neovascularization?
Say that again?
Did the thermogram give a hint as to whether they thought it was a malignancy or not?
No.
Oh, well, that's even better news, okay? Because that is in favor of not doing biopsies as opposed to pushing one toward one, when in fact, I guess you're saying there's a thermogram that finally matched up to find a mammogram and a sonogram where there was a lesion that actually was detectable on those latter two studies, and now she wrestles with the fact that should she or shouldn't she have a biopsy? Is that the question?
Yes.
Okay, and the answer to that is, actually, the likelihood that this being is a malignancy is not that great, but yet we should talk about the decision that she could make and then how to pursue it over some time. Even if it's an incorrect decision, there would be the option to be able to know 3 months from now, 4 months from now, if the thermogram shows any incidence of malignant activity. So I hope I haven't confused you. I'm just saying that there are answers to that question. Should you or shouldn't you do a biopsy that come down on either side, and the decision is correct either way, but the patient makes that decision. Okay?
So if she waits like 3 or 4 months between thermograms, that would give her more information as to what kind of activity is going on there?
If you're telling me right now that there is no mention on the thermogram that this is showing the picture of a malignancy, then I think waiting 2 to 3 months to do it again absolutely does make sense. Absolutely good.
My comment, Doctor, you've experienced this with many of our clients and your patients, that is a dilemma. That is what we're finding. What do we do now? What is the answer? Especially women that have had 3 modalities such as ultrasound and mammography, along with thermography. Most of our clients are aware of the dangers of biopsy. You don't do it until you have to. You feel, you strong indications of it. But usually some sort of treatment begins, whether it's detox or building the immune, however you see this client what they need, and then follow with the thermogram. And that many times resolves itself. Many, many times they're getting their next report as, okay, this is decreased in size. And you follow the same protocol. It's all along with monitoring by monitoring.
Great question, great example, and probably the key, the example that occurs over and over again where it really proves the worth of the thermogram to not move toward a treatment intervention that is not warranted, when in fact without the thermogram there's no way of stopping that. That truck is moving, and it's moving at a fast rate, and it's more than likely is going to mow you down. So good question. I can appreciate the dilemma your sister's having, but it really is no dilemma at this point. Get that additional thermogram and follow it. If that thermogram's not changing and pointing toward a malignancy, then the likelihood is this is not a malignancy, and she shouldn't have those things done.
In 2002, Dr. Courtney, there was a study done where they studied 50,000 women who had microcalcifications shown by their mammogram. And they did a biopsy, and those 40,000 of those biopsies showed that there was nothing wrong. So that's more indication, of what you and Judy were saying, that, many times the treatment is to just follow the thermogram, because the mammogram, oftentimes is giving us false readings, false positives, and, women get scared by that. So that's one of the things we're trying to do, is give them more information so that they can make the best choice possible.
Wonderful question, great answers. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
On that note, Doctor, so many of the women are given that news, and they feel so rushed into a decision. Many times they're not even given a day or two, they're already scheduled for a biopsy. What are your thoughts on that as far as time? We tell them, this is a critical decision. Please think it thoroughly. Do some research. You're not gonna, it's not gonna change that quickly that you have to run and have the biopsy done.
Yeah. In fact, if the scenario that the question that you're asking is similar to the one that was just presented by that question from the listener,
right,
where you have mammogram confirmation of I don't know whether she got the thermogram first or second. Did you figure that out, what she had done?
Yeah.
Okay, so I mean that really is a matter too of good training, because the fact that you have a positive thermogram with a lesion on a mammogram and a sonogram, you are gonna you without that thermogram in the background, you are going to be rushed to make these decisions in a very quick way, and you need not. If this is a malignancy, by the time it be detected by a mammogram, it's shot through, it's metastasized. But what are we worried about the lump for, okay? This is not a problem with the lump anymore in the breast. This is a problem with where's the metastatic spread, and that's a whole other ball of a can of worms that we're opening that would complicate the answer to this even more. But the fact that the thermogram is not showing a malignant pattern is the best thing that woman could have told me. And I would say that any women who are getting thermograms, to confirm or then to move on to confirm or reject it with a mammogram, should heed that message. It's a very important message, so that you don't become a statistic with another, what is it, 40,000 out of how many of the false positive? How many were false?
There were 50,000 studies with microcalcifications shown by mammogram first, and then went to biopsy. 40,000 of those biopsies were negative.
80%. 80%. That's unbelievable. Another question real quick. We're right coming up to the gong. I'm sure it's going to be important enough to ask. Go right ahead. You're with the girls.
Good morning, Dr. Courtney.
Hi.
I have had several
mammograms, and each time I've had them, they've been clear. There has not been any problem. So I decided this year I would have a thermogram. And I'm in the Waynesburg, Pennsylvania area. Do they come up to this area?
Oh, do you girls go you travel so far. Do you go anywhere near that neck of the woods?
We actually do. We have an account down in that area. If you call the office, we can give you directions. It's very close to Waynesburg. It's in the Dry Tavern area.
Okay.
There you go. It's in your backyard.
Do they have a phone number where I could call?
Go right ahead, girls. Give that phone number again.
Yes, give us a call. It's 412-548-3612. And we can guide you and give you directions at time. And Dr. Courtney's office, if that date that we're coming down there doesn't work for you, then you're really not that far from South Hills. It's a bit of an inconvenience.
Well, I know where his office is, so either way would be fine with me.
One way or the other, get it done.
Right. I certainly give a call.
And this is the month. Dr. Courtney knows that this is the month to have it done. We always run a special for
Are you permitted to give a price over the phone, or as to what it would cost?
Well, the best way to do is call, because when the distances we travel to cover the distance, cost is a little bit different outside the region. In the Pittsburgh region, it's definitely the lower price. Right in October, the breast is $120.
All right, then. Well, I thank you very much.
Okay.
Have a good day.
Yeah, it's true. You girls go everywhere. Okay. You go everywhere. All right, we got a minute. We're in the final lap. We're at the gun lap here with a minute to go. I'll let you close it, as you probably would be better doing it than I would. But I can do nothing but throw my full support behind what you do, and I always have. That's why you've been in my office for many, many years now. You changed your readers. They're no longer the one group. There's a new group. You say that they're much better, and you made the move wisely. So, with bongers in the background, maybe I'll take it on out of here. Judy and Sue, thank you so much for being here today. Get that phone number once again, ladies and gentlemen, 412-548-3612. Give them a call. They'll tell you where they are, and they're probably in your backyard. See you on Wednesday. Till then, this is Dr. Dennis Courtney saying so long for AM Impact on Your Health. Are you there?
AM Impact on Your Health is